Hi there, everyone. My name is Brody Johnson with MCFC, and I'm speaking with.
Kelly Ehrhorn, Kelly the Chaos.
How are you, Kelly? How's the day been so far?
I'm good. The day's been good. It's my first day off in a while, and I had a rough week back at work, KFC.
Oh, KFC.
Yeah,
Is
I
it shitty putting together those cheeses or whatever the fuck they are? The
actually I don't work the line because I'm slower than old people fucking when it comes to putting together the meals. So they have me for the labor tasks like cleaning and shit, and dealing with customers actually because I have really good customer service skills despite my appearances.
Despite the appearance, I was about to say, dude, most people, I gotta admit, man, most people that have face tattoos aren't as nice as you. We've been talking for about 10 minutes now.
Yeah, yeah, I get that. I put the tattoos on when I was in prison.
Mm-hmm.
People would fuck with me because I was a gorgeous young white 135 pound 18-year-old, and they just assume I was a bitch. So I ended up turning a 27-month bid into a 39-month bid for all the fights that I got in. I
Yep.
went from minimum custody to maximum custody. Uh, and I figured I was in a way of life where I figured I'd be doing life on the installment plan.
Mm-hmm.
And so I figured when I got out, I was coming back, and I'm coming back with a fucking warning label this time and not tricking off all my time, having to remind these motherfuckers that I ain't no bitch. So I put these tattoos on thinking I was going to be a career criminal. And then I fucking met her.
And
Well,
she
I
turned
didn't
the
meet
life
her.
around.
I knew her for a long time. We finally got together. And yeah, I turned my life around.
They usually
Uh,
say like behind every good man is a good woman.
yeah, yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
It took a long time. She had to stick through some shitty years, but a lot of my growth is motivated by her in our marriage. Been together 8 years in May.
Well, congratulations, man. That's awesome. I'm gonna have a
The
soon-to-be
only time I've been
fiance,
in
and
trouble since is protecting the family. Some dude decided to threaten her and the grandbabies and shit, and I took his ear off in a grocery store.
uh, ooh, there you
so
go.
so that's what I just was in prison for like a couple years back.
Hmm.
He carried a gun and he had two attack pit bulls with him at all times. He was living that street life, trying to
Hmm.
like, flex on everybody, and uh, I got in his crosshairs somehow, and it escalated, and I was in like a panic, dude. I've had family members get murdered and shit, so
Yeah.
I don't take threats to my family very lightly. So
Hmm.
I sat and I plotted and I worried, and I just said, fuck it. I drove to the town nearby where he lived, like 20 miles away from my town, and it was like small enough where I'd recognize his vehicle. He rode a white Cadillac on a like lifted rim and shit. Like, so I seen it and I just followed him through town, and then I followed him in the store where I didn't figure he'd pull his gun on me and where he had to leave his pit bulls in the car. And I
Hmm.
just did as much damage in 30 seconds as I could.
Yep.
And then I walked out, and I was hoping he'd be a man and just walk to the ER, drive to the ER, which is literally 2 blocks away.
Right. And that'd be that.
No, he called the fucking ambulance and played the whole victim role and all that. So,
Great.
but
Great.
everybody
Yeah.
was reminded that I don't take threats to my family lightly. I will
As that
protect my.
no man should.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. Well, so you're really, you're really willing to say something and do it. Like, what do you think of your opponent on March 20, or April 27th?
I
And
don't know anything about him. I suffer really bad, debilitating performance anxiety,
oh, okay.
especially with fighting. Like, I could be about to fight Wee Man, and I
Mm-hmm.
could be having a fucking panic attack in the locker room in my head.
Mm-hmm.
I got a good poker face, so I don't show it very well. But I swear to God, yeah, I try to keep myself as ignorant as possible to my opponent.
Mm-hmm.
All I want to know is if they're more of a striker or a grappler, and that's what I
Mm-hmm.
just kind of base my focus on my training on. And
Mm-hmm.
then I like to go in with a healthy dose of confidence and fear because I operate well off of fear as well. So
Mm-hmm.
I go in there equally scared and confident in my own self, scared of them and their possible capabilities, and confident in the work that I've put in the last however long since I've been back in that training.
Mm-hmm.
and shit.
Well, that makes
A lot
sense.
of
You know, a
fighters
lot
don't
of
like to admit that, but most fighters suffer that phobia. They
oh yeah.
just don't address it,
Mm-hmm.
and that's the career ender for a lot of fighters. Actually, I
Mm-hmm.
watched the dude have a successful 40-something professional fight career, and then literally be at a boxing match that he took, and in the locker room saying, this fucking N-word's gonna kill me. I can't fucking do it. I can't fucking do it. And like literally quit fighting then and there in the locker room.
Wow, that's crazy.
Like, yeah, I've
Like that
watched
makes.
shit like that happen. The mental health factor is huge and people forget
Mm-hmm.
that. I stopped fighting for 13 years when I was eight. I was 19. I started fighting at 18. I had 3 fights. I broke my orbital on my third fight.
Mm-hmm.
I had a piece of surgical plastic and put my left orbital, and it's still there. I mean, the
Mm-hmm.
muscle got caught in the fracture and shit. So I lost confidence in myself as a fighter and my body's ability to take that shit. Even though I wasn't taking care of myself, I was addicted to drugs. I was couch hopping at the time. I
Mm-hmm.
wasn't showing up to training most of the time. I was doing a lot of young man shit and dumb young man shit.
Mm-hmm.
Now I take my calcium supplements and shit. I show up to training. I make sure my cardio's right. I smoke cigarettes and pot regularly, but hey, I'm allowed to have vices if I put in all this work, you know.
Yeah,
But
you're allowed to treat yourself every now and again.
I was sitting in prison and I have a torn ACL, a
Mm-hmm.
torn meniscus in my left knee, a
Mm-hmm.
popliteal cyst, and arthritic bone spurs. Right
Oh
now, I've been performing on that for since my return. I
man.
got this in prison, my first prison bid,
Mm-hmm.
and I never got surgery on it. The doctor said I can either have cadaver surgery and still need a knee replacement,
Down the
but have a
line.
year off
Mm-hmm.
of recovery and then have to build back myself athletically, or I can build up a bunch of muscle around it, still need the same knee replacement down the line, anyways, and not go through the rigmarole of surgery and recovery. So that's what I did. I do leg. I never skip leg day. Uh, but I was sitting in prison and I was using my
And
my knee injury as an excuse, my eye injury as an excuse, and as a reason not to get back into fighting because I love fighting so much and I missed it. And
mm-hmm.
also my age, I'm 32, and I was like
Mm-hmm.
30, 29, 30 at the time. And then I heard Conor McGregor, like, while he was at his peak and getting titles, he was fighting on a torn ACL. And so I was like, well, you
Yep.
can't use that excuse anymore. And then I heard the average superstar fighter out there is like in their early 40s, late 30s. I'm like, you're 29, 30, 30. That's not an excuse.
Mm-hmm.
And then I used the eye thing and I was like, dude, you've had like 240-pound men giving all their weight to your fucking orbital just a month ago in prison. You got soccer kicked by a
Mm-hmm.
Somalian blood last summer in fucking prison, and your fucking eye was fine. You can't use that excuse anymore either. So then I decided when I got out, I was going to give it my biggest effort to get back into fighting. And I did. But my brother had moved down south and he was my connect. So I had to like do my own self
Mm-hmm.
promoting online. And that's when like I got the fight with the Wilmer fight. I was just
Mm-hmm.
messaging everybody, adding myself to different promoters' Facebooks, and like putting all these like videos of me like sparring with strangers in parks and shit. And fucking they 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 eventually gave me enough of a chance to like take a fight that had been denied by 3 previous fighters. They took the fight, seen his highlight reel, and then canceled. And like they had nobody left. I was their last option. They're like, well, this guy might be crazy enough to take the fight. He's probably going to get the shit kicked out of him. But no, and I went out and I showed out and went to the judges, and it was a pretty good fight. So then after that, it opened doors for me.
Well, that's good. Well, that's so awesome to hear, man. Well, we're probably going to get to the tail end of the interview now. Is there anything you want to say or any people you want to thank before we get going?
Just my wife and my fans, and My team 605 Boxing and MMA, because once I moved down here from Grand Rapids, Minnesota, they have sharpened up my fight game so tremendously. It's I've never seen, I've never felt such an improvement in myself so fast, so rapidly since I started training there.
Well, that's awesome to hear, man. I'm really excited for April 27th, especially after talking to you now. And good
Hell
luck,
yeah.
and we'll see you very soon, man.
Yep. And I just want to let my opponent know if you talk to him that I like to keep things real friendly and humble. I respect all my opponents. I like to
Yep.
get the same back. He looks like he wouldn't be an issue with that. Like
No,
he doesn't seem cocky or whatever. But
no,
I'm
we've
just
talked to him actually
going off
prior, and
experience.
we actually talked to him prior, and he says he's really
Oh,
excited for the brawl. He said he
okay, cool.
actually knew about you beforehand. He saw your fights, and he said when the contracts actually came forward with your name on it, he signed right away, and he was pumped.
Awesome. That's
Yeah,
good. I like that. That's really cool to hear. I
yeah,
like this guy already then.
yeah.
All
Well, we
right,
like you,
well,
man. It was nice talking to you, and like I said, have a good rest of your day, and we'll talk to you soon. We'll see you April 27th.
thank you. And see you
Yeah,
guys
you're
then
very
too.
welcome.
Put on my
See you,
best
buddy.
show.
Bye bye.